The massive crystal chamber of the Galactic Council sparkled with the light of 3 suns. Through the transparent dome, countless ships moved like silent fish in the dark sea of space. At the center of the chamber, standing before the raised platforms of the council members, Ambassador James Miller fought to keep his face neutral. "So these, humans," spoke High Counselor Blue Light, his crystalline form pulsing with each word. "They stumble upon FTL travel by accident, and now they demand equal trading rights." Laughter echoed through the chamber, a mix of clicks, whistles, and electronic tones from the various alien species. Miller stood straight, his gray diplomatic uniform pressed perfectly, hands clasped behind his back. The human delegation beside him remained equally composed, though he could sense their tension. "We have met all requirements for full trading status," Miller said calmly. "Our industrial output matches Tier 2 civilizations. Our scientific achievements." "Scientific achievements," interrupted Counselor Stoneclaw, her reptilian scales shifting colors in amusement. "You were throwing rocks at each other just 3 centuries ago. The Council has member races who were building Dyson spheres while your kind still lived in caves." More laughter filled the chamber. Miller noticed how the younger race representatives stayed quiet, watching the proceedings with careful attention. "With respect, Counselor," Miller continued, "humanity's rate of advancement is nothing but luck," rumbled DeepMind, the artificial intelligence representative. Its holographic form towered over the others. "Random chance. Cosmic accident. You primates found ancient data cores in your solar system. You didn't earn your knowledge." Miller felt his jaw tighten, but kept his diplomatic smile. He had expected this response, but the reality of their arrogance still stung. These ancient races, some over 1 million years old, saw humans as children playing with tools they didn't understand. High Counselor Blue Light raised his crystalline appendage for silence. "The Council has reviewed Earth's petition for equal trading rights. We find humans lack the necessary maturity for such privilege. Your current restricted status will continue for another century, at which point we may reconsider." Miller took a deep breath. "The Earth Federation wishes to formally record its protest of this decision." "Noted," clicked Stoneclaw dismissively. "Though I fail to see what a species of lucky apes hopes to achieve with such a protest." As the council chambers erupted in more laughter, Miller reached into his pocket and pressed a small button 3 times. Back on Earth, this signal would start something that none of these arrogant beings expected. "Thank you for your time, honored council," Miller said, bowing slightly. As his delegation turned to leave, he caught sight of the younger race representatives. Some nodded to him secretly, showing silent support. In the transport ship heading back to Earth, Miller's assistant Robert asked, "Sir, should we prepare the public statement about the Council's decision?" Miller looked out at the stars, remembering humanity's long history of being underestimated. "No statement needed. Send just one message to command. Protocol Awakening is now active." Robert's eyes widened. "Are you sure, sir? Once we start this..." "They think we're lucky apes who found some old toys," Miller said, his voice hard. "They don't know that we've spent the last 50 years preparing for exactly this response. They don't know about our hidden fleets, our advanced AI research, our quantum manufacturing facilities. They think they're dealing with children who need supervision." He turned to face his team, seeing the same determination in their eyes. "It's time to show the galaxy why humanity survived all its trials, why we rose from caves to the stars in record time. It wasn't luck. It wasn't accidents. It was because when humans are pushed down, we don't just get back up. We come back stronger." The ship entered FTL, leaving behind a glittering council world. In its wake, invisible quantum transmitters began spreading Miller's signal across human space. In hidden bases throughout Earth's territory, massive factories powered up. In classified research stations, projects long kept secret prepared for unveiling. The Council had made their choice. Now they would learn why insulting humanity was the biggest mistake they could have made. The game was about to change, and the galaxy's oldest races had no idea what was coming. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown to most humans, Commander Lisa Stone watched as massive screens displayed real-time updates from across the solar system. Red dots representing hidden production facilities lit up one by one as Protocol Awakening activated. "Status report," she ordered, her voice echoing in the command center. "Belt Factory Groups 1 through 7 are powering up," reported Captain Mark Wilson. "The asteroid mining operations are switching from civilian to military production. Energy signature masking is holding steady. The Council's sensors won't detect the change." Lisa nodded, remembering how Earth had spent decades building these facilities in plain sight, disguising them as simple mining operations. The Council's arrogance had worked in humanity's favor. They never bothered to look closely at what they considered primitive human industry. "Begin Phase 1 manufacturing," she commanded. "Focus on the new quantum pulse drives. Let's show them what lucky apes can do with technology." Across the asteroid belt, massive chunks of rock split open like eggs hatching, revealing advanced manufacturing centers hidden within. Robotic arms kilometers long reached out to grab raw materials floating in space. Assembly lines that had sat idle for years hummed to life. In his office at Earth Defense Command, Admiral Robert Hayes reviewed the incoming reports. "How long until the Council notices?" he asked his AI advisor. The holographic figure of Atlas appeared before him. "Based on their current surveillance patterns, we estimate 3 months before they detect the increased activity. By then, the first wave of ships will be complete." Hayes smiled grimly. 50 years of pretending to be less advanced than we are, hiding our best tech, making them think we just copied their designs." He stood and walked to the window, looking at the bustling city below. "How many humans know what we're really capable of?" "Less than 1,000, Atlas replied. "The deception has been maintained perfectly. While the Council watched our public space program, they never found our quantum research labs on Europa. While they monitored our official factories, they missed the nanotech facilities on Mars." Deep in the Oort cloud, the largest secret of humanity's preparation began to move. The Cloud Castle, a manufacturing station the size of a small moon, powered up its stealth systems. Inside, engineers began final checks on technology that would shock the Council, devices that manipulated gravity like clay, weapons that could bend space itself, ships that could outrun light. Back in the mountain facility, Lisa received a priority message from Ambassador Miller. She put it on the main screen. "The Council's reaction was exactly as expected," Miller reported. "Their pride made them blind. Are we ready for the next phase?" "All facilities reporting green status," Lisa confirmed. "We can begin full production within 24 hours. The Council won't know what hit them." Miller's expression was serious. "Remember, this isn't about revenge. We're going to change the galaxy's power structure, but we do it smart. No violence unless absolutely necessary. We'll beat them with innovation, not destruction." Lisa understood. Humanity had learned from its own bloody history. They wouldn't repeat the mistakes of the past, even while dealing with aliens who saw them as primitives. "What about the younger races?" she asked. "The ones who showed support." "Keep watching them," Miller advised. "They might be valuable allies soon. They know what it's like to be looked down on by the elder races." As the call ended, Lisa walked to the facility's observation deck. Through reinforced windows, she could see the hidden shipyards carved into the mountain's heart. Prototype vessels sat ready, their designs far beyond anything the Council had seen. "Send the order," she commanded into her communicator. "All facilities begin full production. Operation Silent Thunder is now active." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden industrial might awakened. In tunnels under the moon, in caves on Mars, in hollowed-out asteroids, and in secret stations beyond Neptune, machines roared to life. The Council thought they were dealing with primitive copycats. They were about to learn that humanity had surpassed them long ago, waiting for the right moment to reveal their true strength. The galaxy was about to change forever. The trading hub on Centauri Prime was in chaos. Alien merchants stared at their screens in disbelief as prices crashed across every market. Human products, superior in quality to anything available, were flooding the galaxy at impossible prices. "This can't be real," muttered Trading Master Goldscale, his reptilian eyes wide as another alert flashed. "They're selling quantum processors at 1/10 the standard price. How are they making any profit?" In his private office overlooking the market floor, Council Trade Representative White Spark watched the panic spread. His crystalline form dimmed with worry as reports poured in from across Council space. Human goods were appearing everywhere, overwhelming local industries. "Get me the trade analysis," he demanded to his assistants. "How are they doing this?" The data streaming across his screens told an impossible story. Somehow, humans had developed manufacturing methods that made traditional production obsolete. Their goods weren't just cheaper, they were better, more efficient, more advanced. On Earth, Trade Commissioner John Parker watched the galactic markets through his own screens, allowing himself a small smile. "How are our market penetration numbers looking?" His economic advisor checked the latest data. "We've captured 40% of the high-tech market in just 2 weeks. 3 major manufacturing worlds have already shut down their factories. They can't compete." Parker nodded. The plan was working perfectly. Decades of hiding their true manufacturing capabilities had led to this moment. While the Council thought humans were struggling with basic replication technology, Earth's hidden factories had perfected quantum assembly and AI-driven production. In the Council chambers, emergency meetings were called. High Counselor Blue Light's voice shook with rage as he addressed the gathering. "These humans have deceived us. Their factories. They're not using our technology at all. They've developed their own methods, far more advanced than we realized." Stoneclaw hissed in frustration. "Impossible. We've monitored their development. They were barely able to copy our basic designs." "That's what they wanted us to see." Deep Mind's holographic form pulsed with agitation. "I've analyzed their products. They'd been capable of this for years, hiding their true capabilities while studying our weaknesses. On a dozen alien worlds, factories fell silent. Workers were sent home as businesses collapsed, unable to match human prices and quality. The economic shockwaves spread through the galaxy like a tsunami. Back on Earth, Parker received an urgent call from Ambassador Miller. "The Council is demanding an emergency meeting," Miller reported. "They're threatening trade sanctions." Parker laughed. "Sanctions? They have nothing left to sanction. We control the means of production now. Their entire economic system depends on technology we can produce better and cheaper." "Some of the younger races are reaching out privately," Miller added. "They're interested in trade partnerships. They see which way the wind is blowing." In the markets of Centauri Prime, Trading Master Goldscale watched as another sector's prices collapsed. Human goods had appeared in the medical technology market, offering cures and treatments far advanced of anything available. "They played us for fools," he muttered. "All this time, watching them stumble around with copied technology. They were learning, improving, preparing for this." The Council's economic advisors worked frantically to find a solution, but there was none to be found. Humanity hadn't just matched their technology, they had surpassed it. Every attempt to compete only revealed how far behind they had fallen. In his Earth office, Parker sent out the final phase of the economic attack. "Release the new consumer goods line. Let's show them what entertainment technology should look like." Across the galaxy, markets lit up with new human products, holographic systems that made alien technology look primitive, entertainment modules that created fully immersive experiences, communication devices that worked across vast distances instantly. The Council's economic dominance, built over thousands of years, crumbled in less than a month. "They called us lucky apes," Parker said quietly, watching the markets transform. "They never understood. Humans don't just adapt, we innovate. We don't just learn, we improve." And now, They'll never underestimate us again. The galaxy's economy had a new leader, and the age of Council dominance was over. The Council's war fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. 5,000 ships, representing the combined might of the Elder races, formed up in attack positions. Their energy signatures lit up space like a new constellation. Admiral Tom Brooks stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Command's flagship Defiance, watching the enemy fleet's arrival. His expression remained calm as he sipped his coffee. They brought exactly the number of ships we expected, he noted, right down to the last cruiser. His tactical officer, Lieutenant Ray Wilson, studied the readings. Standard Council formation. They still think we're using copied versions of their technology. Then let's show them something new, Brooks said. Deploy the Ghost Fleet. Deep in the asteroid belt, massive rocks shimmered and vanished, revealing sleek warships hidden beneath holographic disguises. The ships were unlike anything the Council had ever seen. No visible engines, no conventional weapons ports, just smooth black surfaces that seemed to absorb light. On the Council flagship, High Admiral Crystal Spear watched in shock as his sensors detected the human fleet. Impossible. Our intelligence said they had less than 100 ships. Sir, his sensor officer reported, voice shaking, we're detecting energy signatures we've never seen before. They're ships. They're powered by controlled micro-singularities. Before the Council fleet could react, the human ships began to move. They accelerated at speeds that should have been impossible, changing direction instantly without any sign of inertial effects. Brooks watched with satisfaction as his ships executed maneuvers that violated everything the Council knew about space warfare. Activate the gravity lance on my mark, he ordered. The Council fleet launched their first attack, thousands of energy beams streaking across space, but the human ships twisted space itself around them. The attacks passing through empty vacuum, where ships had been microseconds before. They're using localized space-time manipulation, Crystal Spear shouted. How did they develop this technology without us knowing? The answer came in devastating fashion. The human ships fired their gravity lances, weapons that created focused corridors of intense gravitational force. Council ships caught in the beams were stretched and compressed, their shields useless against fundamental forces of physics. This is Admiral Brooks to Council fleet, his voice transmitted across all frequencies. That was a demonstration using 5% power. Stand down, or we'll be forced to show you what these weapons can really do. In the Council flagship, Crystal Spear faced a decision that would reshape galactic history. His fleet, the pride of the Elder races, was helpless against human technology that worked on principles they barely understood. How? He demanded. How did you advance so far without us seeing it? You saw what we wanted you to see, Brooks replied. While you watched us play with outdated tech, we were studying principles of physics your people never explored. You were so convinced of your superiority, you never considered we might find different paths to power. The Council fleet hung motionless in space, their weapons useless against ships that could bend reality itself. Decades of human research, conducted in secret while presenting a facade of technological inferiority, had produced warships that made the Council's fleet look primitive. Send the signal, Brooks ordered. Show them the rest. Across the solar system, more human ships dropped their camouflage. Vessels emerged from within Mercury's core, from Jupiter's storms, from dimensional pockets hidden in plain sight. Thousands of ships, each powered by technology the Council had never imagined possible. This is humanity's true fleet, Brooks announced. We could have built more, but this seems sufficient to make our point. In the Council flagship, Crystal Spear gave the order he never thought he'd give to a primitive race. All ships, stand down. Open diplomatic channels. As the Council fleet powered down their weapons, Brooks turned to his crew. Send word to command. Phase 4 complete. The Council now understands that military dominance, like their economic power, is a thing of the past. The age of human containment was over. The species they had dismissed as lucky apes had become the most powerful military force in known space. The young bright one called Starshine stared at his reflection, adjusting the human-style jacket he purchased from an underground market. His crystalline form sparkled with excitement as he downloaded the latest human entertainment directly into his neural network. "Your parents will shatter themselves if they see you dressed like that," his friend Lightbeam warned, though she too wore human fashion, her crystal segments arranged in what humans called a punk rock style. In the grand halls of the Council's Cultural Preservation Center, Elder Brightmind watched with growing horror as attendance numbers dropped to record lows. Meanwhile, human entertainment centers were packed with young aliens from every species. "It's spreading faster than we can contain it," he reported to the Council. "Their music, their art, their stories. They're overwhelming our traditional cultural forms." On 1,000 worlds, alien youth embraced human culture with passionate intensity. They watched human movies that spoke of rebellion against authority, listened to human music that celebrated individual expression, and devoured human literature that questioned everything. In her office on Earth, Cultural Exchange Director Mary West reviewed the latest data. "Human entertainment now reaches 80% of galactic youth," she reported to her team. "Our cultural influence has exceeded all projections." Her assistant played a holographic recording of an underground concert on the Council's homeworld. Crystalline beings pulsed with light and rhythm to human rock music, their traditional color patterns replaced with wild, emotional displays. "They tried to ban our culture," Mary said, smiling. "They never understood. Forbidden fruit tastes sweetest." Every ban just made human art more attractive to their youth. On the Council trade world of Prime, a group of young aliens gathered in a hidden club. The walls displayed human art, paintings, sculptures, and digital works that broke every rule of traditional galactic aesthetics. "Have you tried their new virtual reality games?" asked a young reptilian. His scales shifted to display human-style patterns. "They let you imagine being anything, anyone. No predetermined roles, no social restrictions." "My parents say human culture is corrupting us," a crystalline youth pulsed. "But they don't understand. Humans show us we can be more than our species' traditions." In the council chambers, the Minister of Cultural Preservation gave his report. "We've lost control of the narrative. Human stories about individual choice, personal freedom, and questioning authority have infected every corner of the galaxy." DeepMind, the AI representative, added its analysis. "Their cultural impact is not accidental. They understood that real power isn't just about economics or military might. It's about shaping how people think and what they dream." On Earth, Mary received an urgent message from a group of young council species representatives. They wanted to organize the first Galactic Youth Cultural Festival, with human art and entertainment at its center. "They're not just consuming our culture," she told her team. "They're beginning to create their own art inspired by human ideas. This is exactly what we hoped for." In his private chamber, High Counselor Blue Light watched a human film in secret. The story of an underdog rising against overwhelming odds touched something in him he didn't know existed. He understood now why their young were so captivated. "We thought their culture was primitive," he muttered. "Instead, it speaks to universal desires we try to suppress." The Cultural Revolution spread like wildfire through the galaxy. Traditional alien art forms began incorporating human elements. Young aliens started writing their own stories using human narrative styles. Music that mixed human rhythms with alien harmonies topped the galactic charts. In her office, Mary drafted a report to Earth Command. "Phase 5 is succeeding beyond our expectations. The Council can't stop their youth from embracing human culture without risking open rebellion. Their cultural dominance is over." She looked out her window at the night sky, where countless alien worlds now pulsed with human music, lit up with human art, and buzzed with human stories. "They called us primitive," she said softly. "They never understood that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to dream, to create, to inspire others to imagine something new. The galaxy's soul had a new voice, and it spoke with a human accent. The council chamber erupted in chaos as the young species representatives rose from their seats in unified protest. Their demands echoed off the crystal walls: equal representation, fair voting rights, and an end to the elder race's dominance. Ambassador James Miller watched from the human observation box, his face carefully neutral as decades of planning came to fruition. You cannot change 10,000 years of tradition. High Counselor Blue Light's voice boomed across the chamber. The council has always been led by the elder races. This is our way. Your way is finished, declared the representative of the Forge Worlds, his metallic form gleaming. We've seen how humans built a better system. No more hierarchies based on age. No more treating younger species like children. Miller's assistant leaned close. Sir, we're receiving signals from 17 systems. They're formally requesting alliance with Earth. In the center of the chamber, Stoneclaw tried to restore order. This is human manipulation. They've poisoned your minds with their ideas of equality. Our minds were already open, spoke the Starborn representative, her energy form pulsing with determination. Humans just showed us it was possible to stand up to the old order. The political earthquake spread across the galaxy. On hundreds of worlds, younger species began demanding new rights. Trade agreements were canceled. Cultural exchanges with Earth increased. The Council's authority crumbled with each passing hour. In his private diplomatic office, Miller met with representatives from the rebellious species. Earth supports your right to self-determination, he told them. But we won't fight your battles for you. This change must come from within. The representatives nodded, understanding. They had learned from studying human history. True change had to be earned, not given. The elder races still control the largest fleets, said the Forge World delegate. But they can't use them without risking total economic collapse. Too many systems now depend on human trade. Miller smiled. This was why humanity had struck at the economy first, then demonstrated military power while allowing their culture to spread naturally. By the time this political revolution began, the Council's options were already limited. In emergency session, the elder races faced hard truths. Their power had rested on 3 pillars: economic dominance, military superiority, and cultural authority. Humans had systematically undermined all 3. We could still crush these rebellions by force, suggested one hardline council member. With what? DeepMind's hologram pulsed with artificial scorn. Our ships can't match human technology. Our economies are intertwined with Earth's trade network, and our young would revolt if we tried. Back in the main chamber, the younger species presented their formal demands: a new galactic assembly where all species had equal votes, regardless of age, free trade throughout all systems, open cultural exchange, the end of the Council's absolute authority. This is Ambassador Miller. His voice carried across all frequencies as he finally spoke. Earth supports these reforms. We offer ourselves as neutral mediators in this transition. The age of hierarchy is over. The future belongs to cooperation and equality. The elder races found themselves facing a choice: adapt or become irrelevant. Systems were already breaking away from Council control. Trade routes were shifting. New alliances formed hourly. In his chamber, High Counselor Blue Light received the final reports. 57 systems had already declared independence from Council authority. Another 100 were preparing to do so. How did we not see this coming? He asked the empty room. The answer was simple: pride. They had dismissed humans as primitive upstarts, failing to see how carefully Earth had orchestrated this revolution. Economic power, military capability, cultural influence, all precision tools used to reshape the galaxy's political landscape. Miller sent his final report to Earth Command. Phase 6 complete. The Council's political monopoly is broken. A new galactic order is emerging, one where humanity will be remembered not as conquerors, but as liberators. The galaxy's political structure, unchanged for millennia, had been transformed in less than a year. And it all began because the elder races couldn't see past their own arrogance to recognize humanity's true potential. The age of the Council was ending. The age of equality was about to begin. The newly constructed assembly hall on neutral territory gleamed under the light of twin suns. Unlike the old council chamber's hierarchical design, this hall was circular, with all seats at the same level. Every species, whether a million years old or just achieving spaceflight, had equal representation. Ambassador James Miller stood at the center podium, addressing the first meeting of the Galactic Commons. Representatives from over 300 species filled the hall, a mix of elder races and younger civilizations. 1 year ago, the galaxy was divided by age and power, Miller began. Today, we begin a new chapter, not as rulers and subjects, but as equals. High Counselor Blue Light, now simply the representative of his species, watched from his seat. The past year had taught the elder races harsh but necessary lessons in humility. The humans, he whispered to his aide, they could have dominated us completely. Instead, they created this. The Galactic Commons was built on principles Earth had carefully designed: equal voting rights, free trade, cultural exchange, and shared defense responsibilities. Every species contributed based on their strengths, not their age. The transition period is complete, Miller continued. Economic stability has been restored. Military forces have been integrated into the common defense fleet. Cultural exchange flows freely. In orbit above, ships from 100 worlds patrol together. Human gravity drives now powered vessels from all species. The technology-sharing program had lifted many younger civilizations to new heights. Director Mary West, watching from Earth via quantum link, smiled as she saw alien representatives wearing both their traditional clothes and human styles, a perfect blend of cultures. Let history record, Miller's voice carried through the hall, that this change came not through conquest, but through cooperation, not through destruction, but through innovation. The elder races had been offered a choice: adapt or become irrelevant. Most had chosen to adapt, discovering that sharing power actually brought new opportunities. Their experience, combined with the innovation of younger species, led to breakthroughs no one could have achieved alone. Admiral Brooks, commanding the combined fleet, sent his final report to Earth Command. All defense systems integrated. The galaxy is more secure now than under the old Council's control. Trade Commissioner Parker added his own update. Economic growth has exceeded all projections. Free trade and shared innovation have created unprecedented prosperity. In the Assembly Hall, Miller concluded his address. Today, we forge a new path. Earth doesn't seek to rule. We seek to collaborate. Together, we'll explore the mysteries of space, face its challenges, and build a future greater than any single species could imagine. The vote to formally establish the Galactic Commons was unanimous. Even the elder races, their pride tempered by recent events, recognized this new system's potential. Later, in a private meeting room, Miller sat with representatives from various species. The former High Counselor, Blue Light, approached him. "We thought you were lucky apes," the crystalline being admitted. "But you were teaching us all along, weren't you? Showing us a better way by letting us discover it ourselves." Miller smiled. "Humans learned from our own history. Real change can't be forced. It has to be chosen." Across the galaxy, the transformations continued. Research teams combined knowledge from multiple species. Trade flowed freely through once restricted routes. Cultural festivals celebrated both ancient traditions and new ideas. The Assembly Hall's great doors opened to the public, allowing citizens of all species to watch their representatives work together. Transparency and accountability, human concepts, had become galactic principles. Phase 7 is complete, Miller reported to Earth that evening. The new order is established, not through fear or force, but through example and opportunity. He looked out at the twin suns setting over the Assembly Hall. In 1 year, humanity had reshaped the galaxy, not by conquering it, but by showing it a better path. The elder races had called them lucky apes, never realizing that humans' greatest strength wasn't their technology or military power. It was their ability to imagine a better future and inspire others to help build it. The age of division was over. The age of unity had begun. And it all started because some arrogant counselors underestimated a species of determined primates from a small blue planet.